No, I was in tail position when when I got hit by a piece of flack. Now that flack wasn't any bigger than the end of the pencil.
Really? Did they pull it out of you?
Lead pencil, the lead part.
Yep.
And my arm was this arm here. It went cut over here, just like that. Didn't hurt, no nothing. And I just kept right on going. And finally got up the flank of the run, and then pulled up and asked if everybody's okay. Well, I got hit by a piece of flack. But get up in the waist position and down there. You get back down there and take his place. You get that arm fixed out. Well, it was up here, right in here.
Yep.
And it wasn't bleeding. Wasn't even bleeding.
Did it just pass through your arm?
It had hit and bounced out.
Oh wow.
But just hardened up, you know.
Yep.
So anyway, the guy in the waist. Now you understand you got a blue suit on. It's got a tight nipple here. Then you got your regular clothes on, and then you've got the leather coat on. Well, you take that off, and you slide this one like this. Binds it up, starts trying to get it down. Finally got it down here, the bandage down here. So he done it again. I think he tried 5 times before he finally got it down there. Finally got it down there, and then the pilot called up and said, "Put any sulfur on that drug, on that sore?" "No." "But put it on." He pulled her back up 2 more times before he finally got that thing.
And it didn't even break the skin?
Huh?
It didn't even break the skin? Oh boy.
But boy, I'll tell you one thing, it was so.
It was.
Boy, yeah, it broke it. I mean, the next day, I couldn't use that on here. It was really sore.
Is that why they made you get the tetanus shot?
Huh?
Is that why you had to get the tetanus shot?
No.
No.
No, that was a different time.
Oh, okay.
But going back to the death march, did he finally get where to get liberated at?
He never, yeah. Beyond what we have in the newspaper clippings, he never spoke about it, so.
No, he didn't. No, he never told about himself.
My mom asked him once, and he said he couldn't talk about it, so. Apparently he wasn't as easygoing as you were. No, just that he, the one story he said was that he woke up one morning and the guards were gone, so he stole a bike and rode out of Germany. Growing up, that's all I heard.
Germany is hurting as hard as we were when it comes to food. They didn't have any.
Yeah.
So they was eating the same thing we were.
How much weight did you end up losing?
Huh?
How much weight did you end up losing?
I wound up with 134 pounds.
What?
145.
Okay.
And so we march all day and get 3 potatoes at night time. That was it. Anything else you got, you just down and got yourself. Like for instance, you'd meet guards. Evidently, and they just kind of woke up to the fact that they were losing the war. They stopped it right at a big old mound about like that, you know. All about 50 feet long. We got to get in there and potatoes. So, big batch of potatoes covered up. And I knew when the boys walked out of there, they didn't look like that when they went in. They looked like a bunch of fat mamas.
Potatoes?
They put potatoes in.
Really?
Just dug them in there for them. So, get just about anything we could find to eat, we would eat. And my group that I was with went all the way. In other words, what I'm saying is this, that I marched from February the 7th until May the 2nd.
That sounds terrible.
No, I didn't. We went into one place, and that thing was so crowded, it was just about like if you take Indianapolis and try to put it in this lot here. Just about like that.
Yep.
They was jammed in there. And then the ones that came in later didn't have no food. Man, they didn't have no food for them. And we stayed there about 3 days in April, and that was in on Easter.
Mm-hmm.
There were a couple of first lights. Little boogers, I caught them there. And now that's towards the end of the war.
Mm-hmm.
And they pulled us out of there, and I had swiped a can of relicing powder.
Yep.
Well, first chance I got, I just took my shirt off and just wrenched it good and went on down the road with my shirt and undershirt until it got dry, and then I put it back on. It was all right. I got rid of them anyway. So anyway, 3 days after we left that camp, it got liberated.
Who was left? Was there anybody? Was there anybody left?
There was so many people in there, you could get, like I said, it was loaded.
But I thought they all
All of these, what had happened was, all of these prisoners had been pushed into one spot.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't no room for anyplace else. In other words, the Russians on this side, Americans on this side, they just had closed in on it. Man, they kept pushing these prisoners in there. I don't know why he was that damn idiot. He was, but he was. And he didn't want to let none of them go.
Right.
So we took off out of there, and like I said, about 4 days later, 3 or 4 days later, they got liberated, and we were still on the march for another 2 weeks. And so anyway, we went down to through a little town, and stopped at a little old shed right on the side of the road, not over 10 feet away. And I told my buddy, I said, sit here and watch for me. I said, I'm going in there and see if I can find something. I went in there and chicken coop. Well, I'm bothering them chickens, 'cause, you know, you let them start playing around with them, they'll start squalling like mad. So I just reached in and grabbed about a couple of those eggs, fresh eggs.
Yep.
I come back out, we packed them right down in the center of our pack. And I told him, buddy, I said, okay, now you get the skillet, I've got the eggs. The last day, the night before the last day, we slept in the barn. It was right at the end of the town, and there was nothing but open fields for far as you could see. And we got up that morning, put those eggs in he had got the skillet. So we gathered a bunch of sticks, popped those in there, sat there, watched them sizzle in our mouth of water, and they wasn't doing too good, but they was getting there. Somebody said, hey, look what's coming up the road. And it was an American tank. And we all run after about there. And poor time of them eggs are still in there.
That's great.
But that night, we got them. Got brought in a basket full of eggs. We sit there and we ate eggs at every description you could think of. And then some who went downstairs and got a ham. He brought it back out. And then we started eating ham and eggs. Yeah, we were sicker than dogs.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And we got up the next morning. Went to a, we got next door neighbor horse and wagon. He wouldn't about let us get away with it, so he got up there. He drove the horses. I mean, he was
Is it German?
German. He was a whipping them boys with that man. And here was running, going down the road. And first thing you know, it was 10 bus coming this way. Oh, it had a I think it was GI on it. And he stopped, we stopped. Hey, which way were you supposed to go to get liberated? You're the wrong way. Go this way. So he turned it around. We jumped in the, now there's only 4 of us. Jumped around and got in the truck, bus. Took the bus on in to the next town. The MPs there were just busy. Pushing them on.
Yep.
And so we went through town with that bus, and there was so many Germans that you ever saw in real life, and German tanks, German equipment, just cluttered that whole area. And well, we got this 4 years ago and finally got out and started walking, and a Red Cross ambulance come through, and he picked us up, and he didn't go a quarter of a mile. He couldn't go any further. So the 4 of us standing there looking around, wondering, said, well, I think I can find out. I think I can get us some transportation.